And I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody. Here we go. Okay, why don't we go ahead and settle in for some meditation? I'll provide a little bit of guidance this morning. Take care, of course, to ensure that your spine is straight and relaxed. When you have settled into a comfortable meditation posture, please go ahead and bring your awareness to the exhalation of your breath. And when you are ready, in your own time, please go ahead and transition into meditation on the inner body. who support you in your meditation. Please feel free to bring to mind the image of a mountain, balanced, grounded, and stable. Very gently and gradually, please allow your consciousness to become less absorbed as you start to arise from meditation. We dedicate all of the merit from this morning's meditation to world peace. May all beings, without exception, be happy, peaceful, contented, and free. May all beings, without exception, be completely free from all forms of mental and physical suffering. And we make special dedications for the following: Lisa Jekyll, Andre Jordan, Ed Wilmot, and John's brother-in-law. May these friends enjoy a swift and complete return to perfect physical and emotional health. Completely fill up your belly and lungs with air, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes and bring your meditation to an end. Everyone, welcome back. So here we are in our last week of our 30-day program. What a journey it's been. For me, it's been a wonderful journey and a real privilege to spend this time with you. We've got 3 more classes. And of course, please remember that I hope you will feel free to transition into the class that preceded you in the prior year, the 30-day program that meets every Monday and Friday from 8:30 to 9 Mountain Time. You are completely so welcome to transition into that class. And we're actually entering into some new materials, so your timing will be good. There won't be much catching up we'll have to do to get everybody on the same page. Because this is our last week, our last 3 classes, I've got some material that I've got to cover. So if you have questions, please ask them. But may I ask you to please send them to me in an email, and I'll respond via email to everyone, so as to allow enough time during our last 3 gatherings to cover the material that we need to cover. So questions are welcome, but just for the next week, if you would, via email. So thank you for that. So some friends of mine there are a number of people who are participating in this 30-day program who are not able to join us from 9:30 to 10 Mountain Time on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So they're listening to the recordings in the evening when their schedule permits. And one of them texted me. It's a husband and wife who are participating. These are the 2 that I have in mind. And they sent me a text on Friday after they had watched the Friday video. And they said, and the guy's name is Tim. Tim sort of texted me on behalf of his wife and said that she said, no, the past is a fabrication. Is he high? So I thought maybe some of us are having similar questions about that, and it might be worthwhile to go a little bit deeper into that, to talk about it, because that is kind of on first blush, kind of a radical notion that, let me see, what words did I use? That the past is a fabrication of the thinking mind. Okay. It might be easier, and alluded to this in Friday's class, it might be easier if we think about first the future being a fabrication of the thinking mind. I mean, when we think about the future, you know, we speculate, we come up with all sorts of scenarios. We create, basically we create a story. We make up a story. We make up an idea about what the future is going to be. And it almost never is what we think it's going to be. Most of the time we get it completely wrong. The future is a made-up idea. Let's go back and look at the past using the same lenses. The past, this notion, this conceptual notion of past is a made-up idea. It's a made-up idea by the thinking mind. Really important. We're not saying that there's nothing there. We're not saying that nothing happened. We're just saying that the mental construct of the phenomenon past is a made-up idea. Okay. And here's a little secret. This is the real juice behind it. And we're actually getting into the territory of the third root delusion. Remember the three root delusions being anger, desirous attachment, and ignorance. We're starting to get into the third of the three root delusions, ignorance, and the antidote to ignorance, wisdom. Not only are the future and the past made up ideas made up by the thinking mind, everything is a made up idea created by the thinking mind. Everything. Neighbors, towns, the town of Silver City, the town near Charlotte, Virginia, these entities called states, these entities called countries, these entities called friends, enemies, and strangers, these entities called bad people and good things happening to bad people, bad things happening to good people. They are all made up ideas created by the thinking mind. We're not saying that there's nothing there. We're not saying that there's nothing there. It's just that the way in which they truly exist is different from the value and the mode of existence that is ascribed by the thinking mind. Okay. Just a little bit of a real quick example. Mountain. This phenomenon called mountain. We look at it and we see it, when we're not on our existential best behavior, we look at the mountain and we have this notion of what you see is what you get. It's a mountain. What's not to understand? But if we dig a little bit deeper, if you'll, no pun intended, but if we dig a little bit deeper, we'll find that what we're actually looking at are a collection of parts that comprise this phenomenon that we have labeled mountain. There are rocks, and there's foliage, and maybe below the surface of the mountain, there are different minerals. Maybe there are underground springs, and there are critters, there are worms and other critters who burrow into the ground. There's maybe underground rivers, all sorts of parts to the mountain that we have mentally formed consolidated and labeled this thing mountain, and we grasp at it as existing inherently, as though it has fundamental, intrinsic, inherent existence. And then we grasp at that thing as though it truly exists, separate from our mind, as though it exists independent of our mind, when in fact, mountain comes into existence in dependence upon, three words there, in dependence upon our mind. We create mountain with our mind. Not saying that there's nothing there, but in terms of an inherently, intrinsically existing mountain existing from its own side, doesn't exist, doesn't exist. In fact, I would tell you, so, I mean, every phenomenon that we perceive through our thinking mind is necessarily a made-up idea. The only phenomena that we can experience, which is not a made-up idea, is that phenomena which we experience through this phenomenon, or this state of consciousness rather, called non-conceptual awareness. Through non-conceptual awareness, we are having a direct experience of the thing, whatever it might be: disagreeable neighbor, past, future, state, the things that really matter, love, compassion, equanimity, humility, generosity. I think we can all agree that the label love is not love itself, right? It's something that's pointing at love. The four-letter word love is a mental construct that points at the phenomenon called love, but it's not love itself. I can tell you the definition of love: wishing for another's happiness. That's my definition of love, but that definition is not love itself. That definition is a made-up idea of the thinking mind. There is a true experience. There is a true entity called love. It is there, and we can't experience it through conceptual thought, through the thinking mind. We can only experience it through non-conceptual awareness, consciousness that is free of thought, a direct non-conceptual experience. That is the love that is authentic and reliable, and it's the true essence of the thing. Okay, this is really profound stuff. It doesn't get more profound than that, but that context is important. I think that explanation is important for us to maybe get a better understanding of my saying on Friday that the past is a fabrication of the thinking mind. Yeah, it is. No offense toward the past, but it's a fabricated, made-up idea by the thinking mind, just like everything else that we process and experience through the concepts of the thinking mind. One last thing before I let us go on this, okay? We might be thinking, okay, he says that all products of the thinking mind are a made-up idea. But what about like gravity? What about gravity? If I jump off a 20-story building, I'm 99.99% positive that I'm going to fall to the ground and break bones and get hurt really badly. That's not a made-up idea. It is, but I would invite you to hold examples like that. Hold examples like that and instead focus on real life situations where the rubber hits the road. Things like the thinking mind's creation of a fabricated bad person, or the thinking mind's fabricated creation of a good person, or an irrelevant person, or a good political party, or a bad political party, or whatever it might be, whatever the things are that push your buttons in your day-to-day life. Let those things be the phenomena that you examine in deciding for yourself whether it's true that products of the thinking mind are all without exception made up ideas. Real life examples is the best approach. And I do appeal to you to please examine and check it out and see if it makes sense. Don't take my word for it. Or my teacher's words. I mean, I'm not presenting anything new. It's stuff that I learned from my teachers. Examine, check your own experience, see if it passes your own litmus test. And yeah, and if you get to a point where it does pass your own personal scrutiny, then it will serve as a building block, a very important building block for your spiritual path of self-improvement. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. 10:02. Have a great Monday. Have a great week. I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Jeff.
You're welcome.